Hello, happy Valentine's Day. It's a lovely sunny day. I'm just turning up the volume. I've been out and about, but I thought I would jump on and do a little quick happy hour. So cheers. I wanted to show a fun paper collection that has come out that Stampin' Up's released, and it is called Square Snippets, and it's great because it comes with these sheets that have a whole lot of different patterns in a grid style layout. So the back's quite plain, it's just kind of a grid note thing, but the papers are really cool. So you've got this design, and then you've got this one, which is more your reds and yellows. That's cool. And that's got a very subtle pattern at the back as well. So love this. And then those are 3x3 patterns. And then you also have, I think this is the third one, this one here. And that one, the patterns are slightly larger. So these are, I think these are, can't remember the measurements, but you can see that these are slightly larger. So these will be 4x4. So there's that one in the 4x4 with a grid at the back. And then the other 4x4 one they have is, I'll pull that one. Oh no, that they've just got 4 of the same 4x4. Ignore me. So I thought I would do some of the smaller grids today and show you the layout that I plan to do. So I have some stuff left over. I have this title, this Mother's Day title left over from another layout that I turned into, it was a Mother's Day layout, and then I turned it into a Lovely Day layout and put different photos on it. And then I was trying to find sort of a layout with just one photo, and this was a nice photo I got of me and my 2 boys on Mother's Day, but I didn't actually have a whole lot more photos. So I thought, right, I'll use this title, this photo, and then these grid papers. So I've got that far. I do have a bit of inspiration floating around in my head. So I just thought I would share the journey with you, so you can see what I'm doing with these. So the first thing is I want to pull out some of the colours that I want to use on this layout. So probably yellows, pinks and blues. If you'll notice, I'm in my Valentine's get up since it's Valentine's Day. But yeah, I want sort of pinks, blues, greens, yellows, that sort of thing. So I was thinking I'd probably, how many different papers do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4 probably. So I was thinking probably that one, and then that one, and then that one, and then maybe like a teal to kind of break it out. So let's see what we come up with. I've got some ones on here that are definite, so let's start with those. So yeah, these are all 3x3 squares, which are quite fun. And you don't have to cut these up. You can absolutely keep them as this paper, and then you could definitely, you know, use it for scrapbooking. Just cut a strip, and if you don't like the front size, you can use the back side, which is a lot more subtle, and actually that's quite nice. So I've got that one, I've got the blue. So I want 4 different colours just to tie in the, I guess, the colours of the photo. And I've got quite a bit here that will all go together, but the thing with mixing busy papers is you just want to make sure that if you're going to make them the focal point, that all the patterns are the same size of pattern. So I guess don't listen to what I said last week. In the video tutorial I put up, must have been last Tuesday, where I mentioned about having you know, a small pattern, a large pattern, and then a medium pattern or two medium patterns. You can also just make sure that all your patterns are the same. So I guess it depends on the layout, really. So let's have a look at these 4 I've cut, just to see what they look like together. So I've got a green, a yellow, a pink, and a blue. And I'm not sure about this blue, to be fair. It does kind of darken up the layout a bit. Maybe we need the light blue. But then that's the same pattern. I do have... I'm just playing with the patterns now. Sorry, I'm blocking your view. 1, 2, 3. No, don't like that. So I'm just holding these up to the rest of them to see if there's a pattern I like better. You know what? I think I'll stick with the blue. Let's do that. So I've got my 4 pieces cut. Now I probably want another set of these, so let's do that. I just need to find the same lot. Right, so we've got those 2. I had thought maybe I would cut these up earlier. However, I've been out with the boys. We went over to Sumner this morning, and then I went out and had a drink with Jared for Valentine's Day. Something else to point out is that these 4 in a strip, they all work really well together. So you can always just keep them within their strips as well. But I'm using the yellow, the green. See, I could use that. Just wondering if I use that polka dot instead of the floral, just for something different. Let's see if the polka dot works better. I'm just going to check the polka dot. So I've got all of my grids that I'm cutting up, if you're just joining me, to make a grid layout. So this paper here comes like this, which makes it really easy to cut up. So do I like it better with the green polka dot or the green floral? And I think the polka dot actually works better. If you've got, you can see those 4, rather than the floral, because I think it's just too many competing florals. So I might actually go with the polka dot. So now I need to find my other polka dot. There it is, polka dot. And I have another, which one am I missing? The pink one. So if you are watching, feel free to say hi so that I know you're here. So, because that comes up on my phone, I can see who is here. Oh, Christine. Hi, Christine. So this layout here, yeah, is just using all the grid paper. So I've cut up one of these pieces, and now it's a matter of putting it all together. So for now, I'm done with my squares. And as you can imagine, there's a lot of different grid style scrapbook layouts that you can do. So yeah. Now I'm not, I need what, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only need 9 because I'm also going to do 4 stamped squares as well. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm just trying to work out my layout now. So I'll do a stamp and a square. like that, and then a stamp, green, and yellow. So I am just going to put everything around the page. Now I may have to cut these a bit more as well, because I'm just thinking I might need smaller squares. So this is where I got stuck, and I'm just at the moment now I'm playing. So I probably need to cut them all down a little bit just to get the get a little bit of white in between. So let's do that, because I think if I have them all still 3 by 3 and I'm trying to use 4 per layout, it's going to take up the entire white page. So I'm just going to cut them all down probably 1/4 of an inch, or maybe 1/2 an inch. Do I want them as... I probably want them as 2.5. Let's do that. So you can keep them as the 3 by 3, but I'm now making them all 2.5 by 2.5. Which, sorry, I should have cut these like this in the first place, but I wasn't sure what I wanted in terms of size. Why is that one bigger? What did I say, 2.5? Yes, I've cut that one at 2 3/4. Right, 2.5 by 2.5. So this is going to be the tedious bit. Sorry, guys. 2.5. So yeah, the only nice photo I got from Mother's Day last year. You know, I actually didn't take a lot of photos last year, so I only got one photo of me and my boys. So sometimes you don't need a whole lot of photos on your layout. You can just go with what, a single page. So this is quite fun if you've got one focal photo to do a grid style layout around it. Nearly there. So of course these come as 3 by 3 and 4 by 4. So you could cut up some of the 4 by 4s and do them as 2 by 2s, which would possibly have made a lot more sense for this layout. But we're going with this now, so we will manage. Right, so we've got 2.5 by 2.5. So that's going to leave a nice gap around our layouts. Now I've got a whole lot of strips. I'm not going to get rid of those because they're going to come in handy for another project I have planned. So let's have a look. So we've got yellow, blue, stamp, pink, then yellow, stamp, pink, green. So I'm just going through my layout now and sort of seeing what kind of way I want everything done. So I'm pretty happy with this. Now I have got spaces for my stamps to go in, so I'm just making sure. So what I'm probably going to do is just make sure these line up top and bottom. Perfect. Right, I am prepared. I'm ready to stick down all of my squares so that way I can show you. Now where is, here we go. Right, so I'm going to stick down grid so that way I know exactly where my photos and everything like that is going. So I've got my grid, pink, green. I really love this green. I don't know if you can see it very well on my desk, but can you see it's sort of a tone on tone green, which is really pretty. So I've got my floral. Then I'm going to leave a gap because I want to show you a really fun stamping technique with this layout. So I've got the yellow, and then I'm going to move the green because that's going to be a stamp, and then my next one's going to be this blue. Blue. Yeah, I think the blue polka dot's just a little less dark. I like the lighter colour. And then we've got a stamp. And then the green. The other great thing is that I know that these patterns all work together anyway because I've got the because they're designed to. So it just means that when you've got the stamps, all the papers all out, you know that no matter what sort of combination you're working with, they're going to work because they're all part of the same collection. So then this pink one goes here. Now you could, you know, use a ruler and rule everything out, but I am not one of those people. I don't usually make a big ruler grid with my layouts just because I like the kind of, what would you call it, organic look of it. Yeah, organic. Let's go with that. So this is in some sort of pattern. So I'll show you. So you've got the green and pink on both sides, and then the blue and the yellow on these sides. So that's like that. Now I probably should have bought these in a bit more, but it's too late now. The next thing I want is my photo. Now my photo is a 4x6. And then I've got my title, which I probably want to put, where am I going to put this? I actually quite like it across the squares. Yeah, because I'm just thinking the stamped area now isn't gridded as much as I'd like. But that's okay. We will... Maybe I should have measured this out. Just ignore my issues. But that's okay. We will work with what we've got. I've got this big grid here, and I would have put my title. Oh, I suppose my title could actually still go down there. It's just because it needs some cardstock or some sort of what would you call it? Some sort of grounding colour on it, because it's white on white at the moment. Let me think on that. So the other thing I want to show you that I'm using is these new mix and match ephemera, and these are really cute. They've got sort of Eastery themes. So you've got watering cans, Easter eggs. Look at the bunny, he's so cute. And so I'm going to try now find 4 sort of clusters that I want to use with this. Now there's purple in here, and I don't have any purple colours, but I don't mind too much because we can just use it like, yeah, it doesn't matter that I haven't got any purple in my papers, because I can just bring it in with the die cuts. So I like that one over there. And then we've got a beautiful yellow one. That's pretty. 1, 2. So if you can see where I'm laying everything out. So I will just still need to decide if I like the title there or not. I suppose I could put some journaling down in here. Because I was going to make this a 4x4, but now, or a 5 by, I guess I could do that as a 5, but I think it actually fills the space really well as in this size, so I will keep it like that. Okay, so I want to use die cuts to fill these 4 additional spaces that I've got. So let's have a look at what else we have over here. So we've got a little watering can. That's actually quite adorable. The watering can. Look at this. It's very cute. So that could possibly go at the top. And then I just need something down here. And I've got another purple flower or a cluster. I think I'll do the other cluster of flowers. Let's have a look and see what that looks like. Yes, that looks good. Okay. So if I do that to the side, that to the top, that there, and then that there, with, let's see if some tulips would work. One, two, three, 4. Mother's Day. Yes, I think that looks good. Sorry, I'm just going quiet because I'm contemplating. Unless I use this big purple flower here. But then that's kind of similar. Because then you've got the yellow. I don't know if you can see that. You've got the same types of flowers. 1, 2. Or I could put the watering can down here. Yeah, I think I like that better actually. Cool. Right, so I have my die cuts ready. And then yeah, I'm just gonna leave that there. So yes, my only issue is that this is white on the white. So I could put it across the grid paper. But then I need something along down here. What I'm going to do is actually cut a piece of cardstock here that's in one of these colours and put it down the side and see if that works. What do I have? Hold on, please. Got some green. It's not quite the right green. No. I've got some blue. It matches my son's top, but it doesn't really match with any of the colours in here. This is getting tricky. I probably should have measured things out. Let's have a look. Red, pink. I've got a light pink that might work, actually, because it's not as dark as this pink here, but it matches the pink of the die cuts and the pink of my top. And then that would just help ground that Mother's Day. But I still feel like I need a colour that is within the realms of that. Green. Right. I'm just going to borrow an offcut of this and match it with, because all my cardstock's over here. I will be back in a minute. I'm trying to find a cardstock. I think I have found a cardstock. Yes, that's quite nice. Let's see if that works. Stay. So that means that I then need to stamp in this. Hold please. Do I have right, that's not the right green. Jade. Evergreen. Possibly evergreen in second generation. So I'm going to try this. Yeah. Or clover is my other option. Which is quite a bright green, but in second generation it might work. Okay, we're good. So now I just need to cut a piece that will fit down the side here. Where have I put my paper trimmer? There it is. It's very chaotic today. Okay, so I know that the height is going to be the same as this photo. So the height's sort of there. So I've got the same height. Now I just need to work out the width. So it's definitely less than 2.5. If we start with 2.25, and then we can adjust from there. So yep, that's definitely too big. So if we go down to 2. So if we put the photo there. I need it slightly thinner. I am just cutting it 2 and there, I reckon. So, yeah, perfect. Good times. So that I kind of want to put next to the photo to kind of have it as a continuous square in the middle. Oh, and I've cut that slightly smaller now. So I'm just going to trim the tiniest amount off my photo. Right, so now my photo and my cardstock match in the middle. I'm not going to stick them down yet though, because I will want to stick down all of my die cuts, and I want to stamp behind my die cuts. So I'll try and lift this up so you can see how it's going so far. Right, so now what I want to do is I'm just going to put all my loose pieces off to the side for a minute. Oops, I've dripped wine condensation on my watering can. So, now the next question is which second generation green to use. So quite often when I'm trying to work out what is going to look best on a layout, straight on a layout, I just take a scrap piece of paper so that I can kind of hold it in place where it will actually go on my layout, and I can get the vibe of it. So I'm going to stamp second generation evergreen on one side and second generation clover on the other. And the stamp set I'm using is from the new Swirled designs from Stamping Up. So I'm going to be using probably this one here. I'm going to be using that one. So let's see which one looks better. And I have to get a block. Where are my blocks? Down under here. I thought I was organised. I'm not. So, this stamp set is designed to go with the Swirled Designs dies as well, but you can use it as a standalone stamp set. It's really great just for adding some interest to backgrounds. So it's what I'd like to call a background and texture stamp set. So that's fun. So what I'll do is I will just plonk that on my block. Now, I breathed in stamp fumes. Ugh. New stamp sound fumes are very potent. Right. So I'm just going to stamp off. I've got a scrap piece of paper over here. So I'm going to stamp off the evergreen. Get that nice and... Now this stamp set is quite textured, so it is designed to be watered down anyway. So you can use first generation if you want, because it still looks really good. Right, so that is evergreen. And then I want clover. So I'm just going to see which colour looks nicer with my layout. So I've got clover, ooh. So might be hard to see on the video. So that is clover and that's the evergreen. So they do look pretty similar, but one is more vibrant. And I think the clover wins. Yes, clover wins. So now what I'm going to do is take my clover stamp set and stamp it in all of the gaps where I haven't put a square. And this kind of fills in the gaps instead of another square. So this is a great way just to break up a layer if you don't want it to be too gritty. Yeah, I'm just making sure this does look good. I could almost use the first generation, but I think I will use the second generation just to make it a little less full on. Right, so I will stamp here in the middle, just to give a little bit of interest. So if you can see that there. And then I will do the same. What I am actually going to do is have a look and see if it actually... It's like, you can't even actually see it because I am doing this side here. Oh yeah, you can see it on that one. Oh, do I like it? Or do I like the... No, I definitely need the second generation. So that will do. Right, so now I need to make sure that it will be seen by my die cut. So I've got that one there. Now this one here is the watering can. So I want it to be over in this corner here. So we're just going to ink it up. Stamp it off. And then I'm going to put that over here. I'm actually going to turn it around so that you get more of it. Let that soak in for a few seconds. Beautiful. And you've got your stamp. And then up here I've got my flower, so I probably want it to be on a diagonal. So once again, inking it up. Stamp off. Then probably want that quite high up. Cute. Yes, that looks good. And then lastly, that was going there, so I want that kind of going above there. And then I will stick these on in a second and show you. And squish. Wonderful. So let me just stick these die cuts on. So as you can see, they've got a thin white border around them. So inking up behind them is just going to help them just stick out a bit and be a little bit more of grounding, so that they're not just floating on the white. And the other great thing about this stamp set is you can use obviously any colour you want to go with your stamp set. So if you do want it to be a bit more bold, you can use first generation, or you can do second generation like I have for a softer look. And I'm just going to plonk that there. So hopefully you can see now my grid is completed, and I'm going to have my photo and title in the middle, and you can see the subtle stamping behind it as well to kind of fill that, if you can see that there. So you've got some subtle stamping behind each die cut, but you can see it still gives you that grid outline look. So that's quite fun. I'm happy with that, even though it took us a wee while to figure it out. We got there in the end. Now, I want to put my photo on and my strip of cardstock. So, let me just make sure I've got the right side. Yes. So, my photo. Now you could, you don't have to use die cuts for this either, like the printed die cuts. You could use your cricket or your cuttlebug and die cut leaves or sprigs or flowers or anything you want with it, really. the good thing about that is, yeah, anything you want to fill in those gaps. Right, so that's nice and stuck down. Then we'll stuck down this cardstock. And you could also emboss this cardstock or use, use other sorts of cardstock like a textured or wood grain, anything like that as well. Let's have a look if this is going to behave. Yes. Wonderful. So I'm just going to add extra glue here so that you don't see that seam as much. I'm a bit fussy when it comes to things like that. Cool. So now the photo fits in beautifully in the middle of this grid, which is really cute. Oh, I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I was a bit worried, but we've made it. So now we need the title. It's really hot in my craft room today. I keep hearing doors open. My kids are all playing, so sorry if you hear squeaking doors. I need to oil my doors. So probably the last thing now is my title. Now I have a love-hate relationship with titles that are long, but I think in this case it works. So I'm just going to plonk that down. It does overlap a little bit on either side, but I'm not mad about it. So now we've got my Mother's Day title, which, yeah, I'm sorry, I know it's back to front. Facebook Live won't let me flip things anymore, so I will post a photo of this where you can see the title properly. Mother's Day. But that is very, very cute. I'm happy with that. Do I need anything else? Any bling? Nope, I actually think that that's all I want on this layout. I'll probably put a year. How am I going to put a year? I might have some numbers somewhere to put 2025 on here, but this will be going in my 2025 album anyway. And I don't think it actually needs journaling because it's pretty obvious it's Mother's Day. And it's me and my 2 boys. So that is my finished layout using the new square Snippets paper from Stamping Up. So I've used the square Snippets, I've used the Swirled Designs background stamp, I've used the Easter Mix and Match Ephemera die cuts, and then this title is from the Memories in Bloom scrapbooking workshop that I believe is still available. And yeah, just a really fun way to do a whole page when you've only got one photo to work with. So that is my creative happy hour today. I'd love to know what you think, and if there's anything that you would change on this layout, or if you like anything in particular about this layout, let me know. But I'm happy with that, so I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope to see you next weekend for another happy hour. Bye.